Welcome back to our shop owners discussion. This is a video series we're putting together to talk about the main questions that if you're in the existing automotive industry, whether it's dent repair or window tinting, ceramic coating, paint protection film, you've probably asked yourself whether you already have a shop and just want to kind of help make sure you're thinking in the same way that other businesses are thinking, or you're thinking about owning a shop. These are all the questions that we get asked literally every single day from people in the industry. In today's video, we're going to be talking about hiring and what it looks like to grow your team and take some of those biggest, scariest steps, which is starting to bring people on that aren't you to do jobs that your name is on. So in this, we're going to go through some questions that are the most common questions we get asked. And as I said in other previous videos, this is going to be descriptive and not prescriptive. This is going to be talking about a little bit of our journey and our systems and processes, and you can take with a grain of salt, and you may have a completely different mindset, and that's okay. But I just want to make sure if you're taking some steps, know that you're not alone, know that there's others out there that are thinking very similar thoughts, that have some of the same fears. And these are some of the ways that we've worked through those fears and led to some great success, and are excited to continue growing our team. The first question that I'm asked, and this is in all honesty, probably the most common question that I get asked if I'm at a trade show and somebody comes up to me and they say, "Oh man, you got 20 team members in 2 shops, blah, blah, blah. Who is the first person I should hire? I'm ready to grow. If I the thing I hear all the time is, man, I could go crazy. I just got to find someone. I got to find another version of me. I got to find one more of me and I could just go crazy, right? Who's the first person I should hire? Should I hire another technician? Should I hire someone to manage the office? Should I hire someone, to do more marketing for me? What is the role that is the most important first step? And as many of these other questions that I've answered, it's not as simple as a specific answer. You're going to have to do a little soul searching. There's an exercise that I like, and you're going to have to indulge me, right? This doesn't usually work well when you're not in a room full of people. And a lot of you that have heard me speak have heard me do this exercise, but I call it circles and squares. And this is an exercise that I do personally quite often, and that I encourage you to do when you're thinking about hiring employees. What I'd love for you to do is, if you're watching this video, literally get a piece of paper and a pen right now, pause the video if you have to, but I want you to take a day, a random day for maybe last week, last Tuesday, right? And I want you to write down as many things that you can think of that you did throughout the day, right? I woke up, I had, breakfast with my kids, took them to school. I went to my first account. While I was at that account, I got 3 phone calls from retail customers. Had to call 2 of them back because I had to get estimates and get them to send me some pictures. Then I drove over to this other shop and I went and did this. Whatever it is, whatever you did, had to have a phone call with my accountant. I talked to my marketing agency, or I sat down at lunch, and while I was eating lunch, I'm doing Facebook ads. Whatever your day is, I want you to document as many of the things what it looks like for you. If you're trying to it's going to be boring, but if there was making a movie about the day in the life of you doing your job, what would that look like? And now that you've got this paper with all this stuff written on it, just little notes here and there, I want you to take a pen and I want you to put circles around all the things you love. The things that, in all honesty, if you're being honest, if your bills are paid for, you'd probably do those without anyone really having to ask you to. You would do them maybe even for free. And if you were ever envisioning yourself go to work for someone else, then these are the things you'd probably want to do, right? Circle all those things. And that's going to be different for you than it is for me, right? You're gonna find things that maybe you love being a technician. You love getting your hands on tools. You don't love as much maybe answer the phone and deal with customers, but you love the actual physical part of it. You love the smile on their face when you deliver their vehicle back to them or their product back to them. You should take that circle and I want you to circle all those, the pencil, and circle all the things that you love. And now I want you to take the same pencil or pen and I want you to square all the things you hate. You disdain this stuff. These are the things that, if you had to do this for a living, you literally would be the most miserable, crotchety person in the world. You would probably be wanting to quit your job after a week. Maybe it's taxes. Maybe it's the marketing side. Maybe it's being on the phone with the customer. Maybe it's the actual repair. Maybe you love all the other stuff about the business. You just hate physically doing the job, right? Doing the thing. It's going to look different for everyone, right? There's going to be a lot of things on that paper that aren't circled and squared. There should be. There should be a lot of neutrals. There are things you got to do for the business. You do it if they paid you to. They're not your favorite, but you don't hate it either, right? As easy as it could be, the question was, who should I hire first? As easy as I can make this, I would encourage you to hire squares. Hire people to do the jobs that you've just put a square around. And then allow yourself, the second part of that is, hire them to do that so that you have more time, energy, and resources to do more circles, to focus that energy on the things that are your circles. Because believe it or not, the thing that you put a square around that you hate, there's somebody out there that loves it. Somebody out there that's got a circle in their day about, man, if I could just do more taxes and accounting, right? There's people that go to school to be accountants, right? Like that's the thing, right? There's people that love marketing. There's people that love getting in the weeds of is this ad working and this ad not working, right? There's people that love being on the phone, right? Love it. Love they get excited about the sales part of it. And that may not be you, and that's okay. But if you're going to be hiring someone, I would encourage you, the very first thing you do would be to distill kind of who you are. And there's a lot that you do as an independent for a small business, and try to hire people to execute the things that you either like the least, hate doing, and are probably not that great at doing. And what I have found, and what you'll likely find, is that if you do hire someone to do those jobs, and you spend your time doing the things that are your favorites, your circles, the business will grow. Because you'll have someone doing a job that they're great at, that they love doing, and it allows you to do the things you're great at and love doing, right? And that's just going to increase efficiency. What is interesting as a business, what I have found that's interesting, is that my circles change over time. So do my squares. When I first started, I wanted to do more repairs. My square, I love customers. I love retail, talking to customers. I like the sales part. But I hated the inefficiency of being in the middle of, as I said, I was a dent repair tech, fixing a dent on a fender, being halfway through this 3-hour repair and getting a phone call and having to answer with a smile, as many of us know, thanks for calling Easy Dent. How can I help you? That you're trying to smile. Customers listen to them and you give them the time of the day and you say, can you send me a picture? I'll call you back. You hang up, go back to work. Bing, you hear your phone buzz in your pocket. They sent you a picture. The customer calls back. Hey, did you get the picture? Yes, I got your picture. I haven't had a chance to look at that inefficiency and that stop and go drove me nuts. It literally was the thing that made me the most miserable, and I would just want to throw my tools. Literally, I was miserable, and that may not be the thing for someone else, but for me it was. So my first hires were someone to answer the phones and basically greet customers and shoo away telemarketers, right? They were kind of a gatekeeper for me in a way at our shop. And the second initial hire we did was someone to R&I cars for me. I wanted someone to take the vehicle apart so that I could do the things I loved. I loved doing the repairs and I loved doing the marketing. I want to do more repairs and more marketing, right? So by hiring those people to do those squares, those things that I'm not great at, and person can probably hear the frustration in my voice, whether I want them to or not, our sales went up. We have someone who's dedicated to customer service, dedicated to answering the phones, and dedicated to closing sales. Our broken parts went down, right? We have someone who's dedicated to taking cars apart. They're better at it than I was. They got more efficient than I did. And then they have someone, me, who's dedicated to marketing and repairs. I became a better repair technician because I allowed myself more time on a repair because I felt like I had more time. So I could spend that extra 30, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it took to get that last 10% better. And it allowed me to be a better marketer because I got more time to focus on the things that I love doing. Started producing more videos, started doing advertising, really dove heavily into what it looks like to run an ad campaign and AdWords and SEO and everything else. So circles and squares is an exercise that I encourage you to do. And I don't encourage you to do it once. I have to do it as a business owner because now, at some point along my career, I found that I love the business growth part, but I didn't really love the repairs as much. And so I hire more and more technicians and more people to do and execute those repairs. They love it. One of our techs was just in here a moment ago and he just loves the puzzle of doing the repairs. My brain, after a while, it starts getting fuzzy. That's not for me, but I love sitting in here and looking at spreadsheets and love the marketing side. And you may be thinking that would drive me crazy, right? So it's not about you ending at a certain end goal. What it's about is, in some ways, you're helping to create your dream job, because you're hiring others to do the jobs you don't like doing and they do like doing, and then allows you to do more and more and more of your dream job of thing you love. And as a result, everybody grows, everybody's more efficient, and the business is going to be better as a result of that. So that's if you're asking who's the first hire, maybe you're a mobile guy and you don't have a shop, so it's hard for you to envision what that looks like. Maybe it's just someone to answer the phones for you, and they text you a picture and you give them a quick price, and then they call the customer back with the price, right? You've just eliminated a part of your day that you probably don't love doing or might not love doing, and you've gotten it down to you talk to one person all day long. You don't talk to every customer that calls. You talk to one person all day long, and then you do the repairs, right? So there are ways that you can do this without the retail shop. But if you are going to go down the retail shop and envision hiring, this is an exercise I would strongly encourage you to do. Circles and squares, do it, and do it often. Another question I get asked a lot is, should I hire W-2 employees, or should I 1099 and do all contractors? And that's a challenging question, because the reality is contractors are less risky. You're not locked in. You're not getting in a position where if you have to let someone go because they're not a good fit, you're having to pay unemployment. You're not having to pay unemployment tax. You're saving a lot of capital by doing that. To the best of your ability, where you can hire employees, and as many as you can hire, I would encourage you to. It doesn't mean that every position has to be an employee. My accountant is not an employee. You know, even the videographer that's sitting on the other side of the camera right now, he's a contractor, but he works with us very, very often. What's most important is finding and creating a culture. And it's really hard to create a culture and ask someone to be loyal and dedicated to you if you aren't able to be loyal and dedicated to them. And then the technicians especially, because your technicians, if you've done the training and you've created their skill set, once they have that skill set, they don't necessarily need you as an owner anymore if all you're doing is the training and the skill set and then cutting them loose, right? So a W-2 employee is going to be, in my opinion, a more loyal team member. They're going to want to be there long term. They're going to envision themselves being a part of it long term. And you as an owner, you're going to make it your job to protect them long term. And they're going to feel that. Whether you explicitly say it or not, they're going to feel that. So I would encourage, and also you need to make sure you're legally doing things the right way within your state, right? If you have people that are working for you 40 hours a week and they're bringing their tools and they're doing the thing, but they only work for you, they aren't a contractor. They are an employee, right? And you can get in some pretty serious trouble if you're paying them as a contractor, but not allowing them the freedom to take on other jobs, the freedom to kind of go when they need to. You have to respect that, and you have to be aware of that as an employer and as a business owner. When hiring technicians, should you hire someone with experience, or should you train from the ground up? This is a question I get a lot from guys who've already maybe started hiring. They've gone through a couple of hires that didn't work out, and they're trying to figure out what went wrong. Should I have hired someone with a lot more experience? Or, hey, I hired someone with experience and then there was they weren't a fit and I had to fire them or I had to let them go or they went separate ways. Should I have hired from the ground up? Well, there's benefits to both. The hiring someone with experience is going to day one come in and be efficient. If you're busting at the seams with business and you need someone day one to come in and work, hiring someone with existing skills might be the only way to do it. If you are adding a new service offering, maybe you don't existing do window tint and you're adding window tint, you may find that it's a lot easier to hire someone who's already a window tinter rather than you go out and get trained and then pay for their training or just send them to training and you don't know much about it. It may be more efficient for you to just hire someone that has those skills already. The biggest thing that I would encourage as a business owner, and you hear me talk about this a lot in a lot of these videos, is about creating a culture. And creating a culture, kind of, it's cheesy, call it family, call it team, call it whatever it is, but a culture where people who are there want to be a part of it and you want them to be a part of it. And when you create that culture, it makes it where the right people want to be a part of it before you even ask them to. They kind of know who you are. They're paying attention. It also makes it where the right customers want to be a part of it. They sense it. They walk in the door and they sense, I'm in the South, you go to Chick-fil-A and everyone, what do they say? They say, my pleasure, right? They God bless you, or whatever it is, right? There's a culture that's there. And you go to another fast food restaurant and it may be a little bit more known for being rude, disgruntled employees, right? That culture, as a consumer, you feel it, you see it, and you want to do business with places that have good culture. So for me, it's easier to develop culture by hiring someone with no skills or very little skills and training them up. And they grow within your business. That is much easier to create that culture. It's a little harder when someone comes in with existing training and existing skills because they've been a part of their own team or they've been a part of someone else's team. It's very similar. It's why in the South we love college football, right? College football is about, again, prior to maybe NIL and transfer portal, it's about building that culture much more so than the NFL is about, free agency, right? When you're hiring someone with existing skills, it's a little bit more like a free agent. Now, that does not mean that someone can't come in and bring their skill sets and be a part of that culture and be attracted to being a part of yours. But that is one of the most important kind of overlooked, non-tangible, non-quantifiable things is developing a culture. It's going to be reflective of you as an owner, but the right people are going to want to be a part of it. So I found that it's easier with existing employees to grow from within. It's one of the reasons for one of our first positions we hire for our technicians is a position, we call it a shop assistant, but it's a technician who comes in and they wash cars and they R&I cars and they run to Sam's Club and buy Powerades for us and they go take customers home and pick them up. And at the end of the day, their job is to make everyone else in the shop more efficient. And what they do is it allows them to kind of see all the different positions within the shop without me investing heavily in training day one. Right? And then it allows me to decide over the next 6 months to a year if they're worth investing long-term training in and worth taking those risks on. Rather than me day one hiring somebody and coming in and starting training them to be a Dent guy or to be a PPF installer a day after they come in and then 3 months later they don't work out and I've wasted 3 months. This allows me to hire someone to kind of, they say they get us, but I want to see it in action. I want to see what it looks like when they have a bad day. I want to see if they take blame when they break things. I want to see all those things before I start investing heavily in training for them. That's been a good kind of a hiring and a vetting process for us. But I have a ton of success. We have several of our top technicians across the business came in with those existing skills, but they had to be the right fit from a culture. So I just encourage that more than anything. To figure out your culture though. Figure out who you want to be, figure out what you want to be as a business owner, because if you don't know what it is, your team's not going to know what it is, and your customers probably aren't going to know what it is. The last question that I get asked quite a bit in our hiring is, do we sign non-competes? It's a big question, right? We just talked about training someone and bringing them in and hiring them with those skills and giving them these skills. In our shop, we don't. I did originally when we first opened the building because I thought that was what you were supposed to do. That was the existing model for a lot of businesses. And it may be a mistake financially if my goal was to sell the business. It may be that you need to have non-competes and some non-solicits so that the next owner feels protected. That's not my goal, and that's not something that we feel the need to do. At the end of the day, I've had a mindset that if a team member doesn't want to be a part of what we're doing, or they don't feel like they're best suited for them, they're best serving their family or themselves by being a part of this, then who am I to tell them they have to be a part of this, right? I want people who have all the skills in the world and have all the abilities to go out and start something on their own or go work for someone else. And they may be able to be more valuable if they left these doors, but they see the value of what we do and they want to be a part of this team. And even though they could leave, they want to be here. That's what we want. Because at the end of the day, as an owner, I could leave at any point, and how can I ask my team not to have the same freedom, right? So for me, Georgia's a right to work state, so it'd be hard to do anything with that anyway. In your state, it may be different, but I just have found again, if culture is important to me, to enforce that I really do genuinely want my team to want to be here, and I want them to feel like they are better because they are here. I have to have the doors that are open that if they feel like that's not the case at any point, then they can make that choice for themselves. So that's most of the main questions. There's a few more. Most of the main questions we get from hiring. It's a long video. Thank you for hanging in there. If you're still here now, Watch out for our next video. We're going to be talking about adding additional services. Maybe you add one service and you're thinking about adding more. We're going to talk in depth about that, talk about what my process was. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, drop a comment, message us. Happy to help.